this is exciting. Did, who is it, Giordano?
Yep.
Did he draw both of them?
Mm-hmm. He's good.
He is good.
This is another episode of the Flight Ringers podcast. I'm David King. That's Dan Spottswood.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
We are professional cartoonists, and we are Legion of Superheroes experts. This time we're talking about Legion of Superheroes 263 and 264. It's a thrilling two-parter.
That's right, David. The first issue here came out in February of 1980 with a May cover date. Jerry Conway is continuing to write the comic. And this is the first issue of the infamous Jimmy Janes, quite possibly the worst cartoonist in the history of cartoon comics named Legion of Superheroes. I already checked he's dead, so you can't be mad at me.
I like the art in this issue.
That's all Dave Hunt. That's my theory. Dave Hunt is saving it.
Oh, I don't like the Dave Hunt inks. I think if a different inker had inked it, it would be good or better than it is. It's solid.
Have you looked at the ones after Dave Hunt leaves? Oh, okay.
Like who inked those? Joe Staton?
No, Staton's gone by now. We've actually done a couple of these already. We did the green genie guy. Remember that one?
Yeah. Who is the inker? Is it like Al Milgram or somebody? Because Ditko got inked by Hunt. But you're saying the front part, it wasn't by Ditko? I mean, it wasn't by Hunt?
Hunt carries over from like the Joe Staton days, and he stays on for a little while. But I think he leaves 4 or 5 issues into the Jimmy Janes material.
Huh.
Maybe he comes back intermittently. I don't know.
I can't think of who it would be if it's not Dave Hunt.
Good question. Let me find the name.
It doesn't matter.
It matters, God damn it. It matters.
We got to get through this in 20 minutes. Come on.
Frank Chiaramonte?
Oh, yeah. Frank Chiaramonte.
He's
also dead. He died young at age 43.
Good. He sucked too.
Oh, damn.
He had it coming.
You think he was asking for it with his bad ink jobs?
Yes.
I mean, if I was a comic book inker, I'd be like, kill me. Just take me.
I say all this being fully conscious of the fact that as much as I disdain Jimmy Jane's work, there's no way in hell I could do it. He's still 1,000,000 times better than me. Nonetheless.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. I would say maybe more than 1,000,000 times better than you.
I'm just preempting all of the legions of our fans. We're gonna say, let's see you do it.
People who say shit like that are stupid as fuck. You couldn't do better. Yeah, I don't have to.
What do you work for, the Comics Journal?
Yeah, people who say stuff like that are just, I don't know. You don't have to be able to do better. Like when you see a movie you don't like, do you like stop yourself and be like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have said that movie sucked because I couldn't have made a better movie than that. So that movie's good, right? Does anybody ever do that? No.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break, you stupid fucks.
Right. Or if like the president says there are good people on both sides during a Nazi resurgence, and then you complain about that, and someone says, let's see you do better. Could you have... You're not there telling those Nazis not to take over the world. I don't know.
What?
I lost my thread.
But speaking of things that suck, but that we couldn't do better than, these two comics. Nah, they didn't suck. I thought these were good, actually. But
you're just a contrarian. If I came in saying this shit was good, you would have been like, this sucks.
You told me these sucked, and you put it in my head that these are going to be real terrible. But they're kind of fun. I mean, they're extremely stupid.
Yeah.
And also just within the canon of Legion of Superhero stuff, like that's where the contrariness comes in. Like none of this fits with the rest of it.
Right.
The story is that it starts out in these 5 ordinary citizens. These 5 gloriously sexy, muscly, ordinary citizens.
Very fit, 25-ish years old.
Yeah, they all show up at Legion headquarters for a tour. And this lady says the sentence that I love to hear, it seems even larger than I'd imagined it to be.
Someday you may hear those words.
Oh, I know. I'm taking a pill for it.
Even the proctologist finds the tumor.
Anyway, it turns out these people are the parents of some of the Legion of Superheroes. But look at these people. Like, you know, at this point, how old are the Legionnaires probably? They're probably like 20, right?
They're older than 20. They're
Okay, they're 25. So their parents have got to be...
25, 27, somewhere in there.
These people are like 60 years old.
Yes. They've had a lot of work done.
I hope I look like this when I'm 60. And I hope when I'm at the
Yeah.
old folks' home, all the other people are this sexy.
They might not look this sexy, but they may be dressing this way.
Anyway, these are, it's Ultra Boy's mom and dad, Shadow Lass's mother, Chameleon Boy's mother.
And Shrinking Violet's father.
This is Shrinking Violet's father, the guy in the pink V-neck with kind of the shoulders. This guy has a V-neck, but it's more of just a no shoulder pad, just a t-shirt, a tight-ass t-shirt.
I'd like to point out before we get too far here that it seems pretty clear that at this point in the Legion's publication history, they're kind of on autopilot. I'm pretty sure everyone's just doing this for a paycheck. No one's paying close attention, especially the editor. Because if you look on the cover, it says, this seems to be featuring Tyrock, Shadowlass, Chameleon Boy, and Wildfire. We see all four of them. We see their names along the top, of course. But Chameleon Boy never shows up in this. We move on to the first page. We have a roll call here. It is Timberwolf, Brainiac 5, Princess Projectra, Phantom Girl, Starboy, and Mon-El. Not a single one of them are in this issue.
Wow, I didn't even read that. Like I'm on the same autopilot as the creators of this comic book.
Well, I looked back, and the last issue that had the roll call had that exact roll call.
Oh my
god! So they didn't even pay attention.
These lazy fucks. Oh, one thing I did like about this first page, it has this little write-up, which I guess I'm not used to seeing it, but it's in both of these issues. Mm-hmm. It says, honored by 1,000 worlds, a mighty group of youths stands ready to defend the cause of justice in the 30th century, each possessing a mighty power they have banded together as the Legion of Superheroes.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty solid little explanation.
Right. I don't really understand why it's like in that box like that. At least over in Marvel, they would run that along the top in the gutter.
Oh, yeah, like Mad Magazine or something. It would say superhero department, colon, and then it would say all that. And then it would be like big cartoon letters that says Legion of Superheroes and the Day of Judgment.
At least through the 80s, like all the Marvel comics they'd have a synopsis like this run along the top. So you could.
And also, speaking of Mad Magazine, Ben Oda, who did those, he's a letterer of this comic. He could have made it look exactly like a Mad Magazine, not like a Marvel. Who did Marvel? I'm trying to think of the Marvel letterer who did all those.
Did all the what?
All the lettering in early Marvel comics. It's like one guy. Drawing a blank on his name.
Artie
Simek. That sounds right to me. Yeah.
Oh, did you see what I sent you?
Yeah, was that some like early or Jimmy Jane's artwork from elsewhere?
Yeah, I guess it's maybe his first published work. It's like Greaser Comics. It's like
is that the title of it?
Mm-hmm. It's like an underground comic, but I don't mind it as much there.
I just looked at it on my phone, just kind of glanced at it.
It was from Rip Off Press.
Oh, okay.
It looks like he inked it.
His drawings are good. Remember we looked at that what was it? The Legion Companion has a bunch of his uninked artwork in it.
Yeah.
He's pretty good, I think.
To be perfectly honest, it's not that I think he's a bad artist. It's just, it's serviceable, but it's not memorable. And I kind of feel the same way about Conway's writing on Legion. It's like, it's fine, but like this whole period is kind of ceased to exist as soon as it happens. Like, it didn't take Crisis to make this disappear. Everybody immediately forgot about this couple of years that is collected in the Before the Darkness trade. But really, this is the darkness. This is the dark
This
age
is
of
the
Legion.
darkness. And they're coming out of the darkness when Paul Levitz takes over.
Right. It's mediocre. It's
it's like a throwaway. It's like what a comic book really ought to be, right? It's maybe a little worse than that, I guess.
It's fine to be throwaway as long as it's fun, I guess. And I'm not sure how fun these are.
Yeah, this is kind of bland.
It also doesn't help that his debut follows, I think, the last full appearance of James Sherman as artist. Like, he came back one last time for a full book. I know he did like 2 or 3 pages in 300, and I think he's like at the peak of his powers there. Like,
he did it all himself in that one, right?
Right.
No Jack Abel, no Vinnie Coletta or whoever, inking it.
So it's kind of a come down to go from that to this. But Dave Hunt saved some of it, in my opinion.
I think it's okay. I think the people look fine. Anyway, these parents of the Legion of Superheroes, they've been invited to a tour, and they get inside the headquarters and they walk past all the statues and all the shit, and then they're surprised because no one's around, and they get intercepted by this dude who calls himself Dagon the Avenger.
Dagon the Avenger.
Or I don't know if maybe it rhymes with wagon. His name's Dagon the Avenger.
Dagon? That's how I thought it was Dagon.
Oh, really? We'll go with Dagon.
This is right around the time Micronauts was kind of a big deal over at Marvel, which is before our time, but Michael Golden drew it. And the villain in that, this guy is a knockoff of a Micronauts guy. He's a knockoff of Darth Vader. But he has kind of a Kirby-ish look, which I, again, think might be the inker.
I think maybe in the Jimmy Jane's interview, he says he's a big fan of Kirby.
A comic artist, a fan of Jack Kirby?
Yeah.
Hard to believe. We get a little Omega Man cameo here. It kind of looks like.
Yeah, this right here looks like one of the from the Keith Giffen and Roger Slifer series Omega Men. I think somebody else created those characters though, right? They came out of Green Lantern or something.
Oh, okay. You don't think Keith Giffen swiped this panel?
I mean, it's
unconsciously, of course.
He has a reputation, yeah.
He unconsciously traced it.
Yeah, he's like Mozart. You ever hear that story about how Mozart? There's like what is it? Some kind of church music that they only roll out once a year at Christmas time. Nobody had the score except the church, and it was kept under lock and key. Nobody knew the orchestration. Mozart goes and listens to it one time, and he memorizes every part and every piece, and then transcribes it. That's like the power that Giffen has. He can read a issue a Sinner. He can memorize every line and every location of those lines, and then redraw them. He doesn't have to get out a light box. He doesn't have to have it right beside him. He just has it in his memory. He's that type of artistic savant.
But I'm intrigued by your story. What did they ever compare the two versions? Did he make something new out of it? Did the Mozart, was it like dead on, or?
All I remember is that Mozart was able to memorize every note from whatever 2 hours worth of orchestra music and then write it down later on. That's the thing that stuck with me, is like this guy can hear it and he knows music enough and is prodigy enough that he can be like, oh yeah, it's just and write it all out, whatever. Take a half day and the next day to write it all out.
Fascinating.
I heard that on the classical music station out here in Los Angeles.
They still have those.
This is probably the last one. It's kind of big. It's KUSC, I guess.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the University of Southern California.
Bubble Yum. I'm not sure they make Bubble Yum anymore.
Not a loss to society, I guess. I think when I was a kid, this was the big gum, though, right? This is what you thought of when you thought of bubble gum, right?
Was Hubba Bubba a gum? Or was that just some variation of this?
Hubba Bubba isn't that the shit that comes in the pouch?
No, that's Big League Chew.
Yeah, that's Big League Chew. Hubba Bubba is another kind of gum. And there's one called Bubblicious.
Right.
Actually, I think Bubble Yum is the kind that it had like the majority of the cube of gum was one color, and then the outside of it was yellow, and it had two flavors or something, right? Right.
Like these things are so chock full of, they're more candy than gum. Like, you could swallow this stuff, no problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
You got to blow the big bubbles with it, though.
Could you?
That's what it says. Blows big, beautiful bubbles. And it's sugarless.
Consumer Reports. It's sugarless?
That's what it says right here. They can't lie.
This is bullshit. No one wants that. Kills lab rats.
Did you ever get like at Halloween, you go to somebody's house and they buy the big old variety grab bag, but it's also the cheapest stuff, and there's always what was in it? Double bubble, maybe? It looked like a Tootsie Roll almost, but it's
right.
And it's real hard, and it doesn't
hard as a rock. Yeah.
That's the stuff when you get like they have throwback candy and stuff, and there's always Necco wafers and root beer barrels and stuff. Like it's always double bubble that's in there. Like that's the 50s style throwback bubble gum is double bubble for some reason, even though Bubblicious fucking blows it out of the water,
Or the baseball cards used to have gum in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's always old and dry and breaks up when you...
Double Bubble is better than that stuff.
For sure. I don't even think they put gum in baseball cards anymore because they don't want to affect the value, the condition of their cards before they slab them or whatever they do with them.
Yeah, I don't think the cards are even made out of cardboard anymore. But also it's only...
Like made out of plastic?
I don't know what they're... Yeah, I'm sure all paper is like 80% plastic now.
Yeah.
But yeah, baseball cards, they're made for the adult collector who's over like 55 years old.
Right. It's like $12 a pack.
Yeah, I bet there's only 3 cards in there.
Right.
This fucking dude, Dagon the Avenger, he's kind of making like he's going to kill these people, but I think he's just trying to kidnap them.
Right.
And they all sort of have the powers of some of the Legionnaires who are their children, so they sort of put up a fight. This dude, this is Shrinking Violet's father. He has a gun. They make a point of saying that he has a gun, and the guns were given to them by the Legionnaires to defend themselves in case something happens when they go and visit Legion headquarters.
Right.
And the weapons were made in one of the research labs owned by R.J. Brand.
Right.
So now R.J. Brand is not only is he the biggest billionaire on the planet, but he's also like a arms manufacturer, war profiteer, I guess.
They're making sure to spell out, like, this might be important later.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so they got a few pages of the Dagon fighting the Legion parents.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowlass's mother puts up the biggest fight.
Yeah, and he comments, like, it was sexist of me to just assume that your father taught you all your amazing fighting skills. It came from the mom.
What's her name? Tarna? Or she doesn't have the same last name as Shadowlass. Shadowlass's real name is Tasmia Malor. Okay. And this character's name is something else.
Yeah, this kind of goes along with what I was saying about this being kind of a completely ignored period.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost immediately retconned away. Like, I think any appearances of the parents of the Legionnaires completely contradict these characters. Like, does this woman show up again? Like, we find the woman who's supposed to be Chameleon Boy's mother, because he was raised by like his aunt, right?
Yeah, I think that must be just must be a development from way later, even like after they reveal R.J. Brand to be Chameleon Boy's father, which that's coming up soon. That happens in the
real
Secrets
soon.
of the Legion. Like, yeah, it's in a couple of months or something.
It almost immediately invalidates us, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he ever really had a mother except in this issue, and then they're like, he doesn't have a mother.
He has a twin sister, I think. Her name is like Liggett, like the cigarettes.
Liggett.
Yeah. I don't know where she pops up, but yeah.
And in the next issue, Wildfire has parents. But then something I read not too long ago said Wildfire was an orphan. He didn't have no parents.
Right. And then later he has a twin.
Yeah, he has a twin brother.
Well, every hero has like the evil twin.
Yeah, I guess so. Evil, also energy being twin, who had the same accident happen to him, but at a different time. I forget what's going on. She kind of puts up a good fight against Dagon and leaves her belt as a clue for the Legionnaires should they show up.
Does she do that deliberately?
Yeah, she takes her pants off. You see her unclick her belt and then hook it onto a statue. Shadowlass, a statue, probably.
So basically, they put up a decent fight, but ultimately he wins, and he takes off with them. The Legionnaires return from a wild goose chase, presumably arranged by, what's his name again? Daggett?
Dagon.
Dagon.
Or Dagon.
To get them out of the way. Wildfire is so pissed by that, by being sent on, a wild goose chase, that he's punching and destroying palm trees.
Yeah, there's a palm tree right outside of Legion headquarters, and he's destroying it.
There was. It's
still there. It's just like a 9-foot tall stump. Yeah, he's pissed. The whole issue, Wildfire's pissed. And he gets more pissed in the next issue.
Right.
But there's a good adventure Tyrock. He doesn't participate very often.
And you can tell, I guess, maybe because African Americans or African people of African descent are depicted so rarely in comics. Maybe artists don't know how to draw them well. But, I mean, this guy looks like Superman with an afro on and painted brown. He has very European features in most of the drawings.
He's even in a Superman pose right here, like a Wayne Boring walking through the space pose.
Right.
Yeah, this definitely looks like Superman, like you say, with with a afro wig on, like a stupid
Right.
afro racist Halloween wig on.
But the Saturn girl on the lower left looks really good. There's a few faces in here that look really good, and again, I think it's Dave Hunt. But
I think it's Jane's does the good faces.
you're right.
And then Dave Hunt rises to the occasion and finishes them off well.
Got an almost comical expression on her face when she discovers her mom's belt. She's almost cross-eyed.
And yeah, her eyelashes look so big and strange.
Like, hubba, what?
But yeah, Shadowlass finds the clues.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of establish a rapport here between Shadowlass and Tyrock.
Tyrock's written very different here too. Like, he's speaking very kind of generic superhero-ish here, which might actually be better than some of the other attempts. He's only had like maybe 4 speaking parts ever, but in a couple of them, he's been like a very stereotypical, like angry black man. But here he's like goes too far the other direction, and he just seems like a very generic hero. No personality, really.
Generic and level-headed, and
Right.
well, until later on, he gets a little more, I don't know, animated or
Right.
adamant, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an ad for the first of the DC 3-issue miniseries, the Untold Legend of Batman. That came out, and then they had the next miniseries, I think, was the Secrets of the Legion miniseries.
What about where does the Phantom Zone one fit in? Was that before or after? Have you seen that?
I have seen that. It's
I think Gene Colan,
right? Yeah.
It's kind of cool. They get stuck in the Phantom Zone, Superman does, and he runs into Mon-El there, and Mon-El's obviously been there for quite a while, and he kind of like is his guide through the Phantom Zone.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And there's like weird levels of it, like the levels of hell or something, and somehow he's able to escape the entire thing by running this gamut through all these different levels of the Phantom Zone.
What?
Cool.
Mon-El never did this?
No.
Come on, Mon-El.
No, Mon-El said he couldn't go any further at some point for some reason, because he'd be like, I'd escape with you, but your dumbass waited for Brainiac 5 to let me out in the future, so now I have to stay here.
So lame. But I think the Batman one's the first one. But they did the Batman, they did the Phantom Zone, they did the Legion 3-issue miniseries. Is World of
I thought the
Krypton.
letter column said World of Krypton was first.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
So
I don't know what the hell's going on. Somehow Lightlass discovers that a bunch of the Legion parents have been gone missing and come to Earth. Not just Shadowlass's mom. There's this picture of Arn Digby. That's Shrinking Violet's father.
right.
G. Daggle. That's Chameleon Boy's mother.
Is that G or Jai?
I don't know. I'm going to say G.
Okay.
Who cares? And then Krav and Murda Gnaw. Those are Ultra Boy's parents.
Oh, okay.
And Ultra Boy's father, he has a nude headshot on his passport. Like, I had to get a passport not too long ago, and I'm like, should I go shirtless for the passport? I'm going to wear a shirt. I guess I'm going to wear a shirt on this one. But
maybe in the future, security's so tight that they want you to take the photos naked so they can see birthmarks, everything.
that's an idea. Except that, his mother has her shirt on, so I don't know.
Maybe just men.
Only the men have to be humiliated in that way.
To be fair, men are 99.999% of the terrorists and killers.
But behind every man, every great man, what do they say? It's something like that.
There's a woman being forced to be behind by another man. So
Forced to support him. Yeah.
yeah. So on a hunch, Lightlass checks up on all the other parents after the discovery of Shadowlass's parents being gone. That's how they realize everyone is missing.
Yeah, Wildfire. Couldn't think of this guy's name. Wildfire. He was like, well, could my parents have been kidnapped? And she's like, yeah, your parents.
Colossal Boys, Sun Boys.
Yeah, Jerry Conway gets to give names to all of the Legion parents, I guess. I don't know if some of them have appeared before.
Yeah, I think the naming convention must just, for alien names, just take standard names and take all the vowels out.
Yeah, or change all the letter I to a Y.
Right.
Something like that. So yeah, Colossal Boy's parents are missing, Ida and Wynn Allen. Later, It's not Ida anymore. It's Marty Allen. I guess they named her after the famous comedian. And Sun Boy's father is Derek Morgana.
You would think Colossal Boy's parents would be a bigger deal, but This is before, right? She was president.
Oh yeah, she's not president for, well, it's during the Giffen period, but this is 1980, I guess, or borderline 79, 80. And then I guess Giffen's kind of at the height. Levitz and Giffen team is at their height kind of in 83 or 4 or something, when all the real big stuff happens.
He popped up before, I think, in the 70s, probably during the first Levitz run. Wasn't he? He was sort of forced to join maybe the Legion of Supervillains, like Lightning Lord or somebody kidnapped his parents. Wildfire is so mad.
Yeah, he loves his folks. But they're calling up Dawnstar now to track down the parents, because who else could track down people? And she'll be here in an hour or so. And so they cut to Dawnstar having a little bit of an adventure on her own.
Saving some ungrateful, stranded descendants of Green Arrow.
I guess so, yeah. They show their faces, right? Yeah.
There's the bubblegum thing I was talking about on the page before.
Oh, yeah. That's
the one I always think of. Is that the same brand, or is that... It's not Bubba Yum. It's Hubba Bubba.
This one's Hubba Bubba.
Right.
The other one was...
Cowboy.
It wasn't...
Bubble Yum, maybe.
Bubble Yum. Yeah, somebody was saying they thought this might be Richard Corbin artwork.
I could see that.
Was that us? Or was it Cartoon Kayfabe? I don't know.
It must have been them.
I always thought it was that guy Howard Cruz did this, because it has that kind of pebbly texture to it.
Oh. Well, he worked for Bazooka Joe for years and years and years.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. I think that was like his day job.
Yeah, there's some other ads I've seen that it's definitely by him. This one, I don't know. It kind of looks like Corbin in a way, but yeah, it could be something else too.
It could have been him. Howard Cruz was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, but Dawnstar saves these stranded travelers, but they'd
settle for a little humanity.
Yeah, they're going to call up customer service on Dawnstar for not being nice enough to them. She's a little cold.
The first time I read this, I thought she just stranded them. Like, she got the call from Wildfire and just left them in space. But I think she must be taking them back to the planet before she runs off. Fuck you guys. Good luck getting home.
She just flies them someplace real fast. Like, they throw out these, like, insane distances. You know, Dawnstar, she's like 10 billion miles away from Earth. And she has to rescue these guys and drop them off someplace and then get back to Earth. And then on the next page, she's like, I would have been here faster, but I had to go 10 million miles out of my way, or some stupid shit like this.
Yeah, distance is always kind of pliable depending on the story. Like, Star Trek is really bad at that. Like, they'll always start with the captain's log, like it took us weeks to get this place. But if they've got to go somewhere mid-story, it's like driving down to the store or something.
Right. Yeah, they just use some impulse engines or whatever.
Right.
And I don't know how Dawnstar, like, wings cannot get you going speed of light. I don't think any. So why does she have wings? What are the wings for?
Well, they can't get you anywhere in the vacuum space.
That's true. There's no air. What do you call that?
Right.
Whatever. They're not grabbing onto anything.
They're magic wings.
In this last panel, they show Tyrock and Lightlass being transported, or teleportation. Via Tyrock's sing-song abilities that he has.
Right.
He's kind of like Black Canary is his powers, I guess.
She doesn't teleport, though, I don't think. She has more of the standard, projects force through her voice.
Right. She can scream at you and your clothes get torn off.
Right.
And you can cover yourself, but it doesn't matter because she's already seen everything.
Yeah, I've seen everything.
Tyrock can do that, but then he can transport himself even closer to that subject whose clothes he just blew off.
Right.
But Lightlass they're at an RJ Brand weapons research lab, I guess.
Right. They seem to have forgotten what century they're in. This guy's just dressed right out of like 1980.
Nerds are always behind the times in their
brown
clothes.
Pants, dress shoes, collared shirt, pin protector, regular glasses.
Yeah, they're bell-bottom pants.
But he's well drawn, in especially the two close-ups of him on the right side.
Yeah, these ones.
Dave Hunt, not Jim James. This is Dave Hunt.
All right. This is the Dave Hunt tribute episode. He's so good. But this guy, he's pissed. He's got an axe to grind with RJ Brand because RJ Brand used to fund all this stuff, but now I guess somebody took away all of Brand's money, and he thinks the funding has gone to the Legion of Superheroes instead of the weapons manufacturing division of RJ Brand Industries. And Tyrock's like, hold it, man. It was
Hold it, man.
the president who took the money away.
Right.
It's getting real political. This is some identity politics happening.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But then Lightlass picks him up with her powers and scares him.
I think she just murdered him.
Like she lifted him way up and dropped him, right?
She lifted him way up and he's being electrocuted. He's like crashed into some machinery up there.
Oh, yeah, into like the atomic weapons they're developing.
Right.
And there's this scene here where Dawnstar shows up and chats with Wildfire. Dawnstar and Wildfire are a classic case of star-crossed lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Dawnstar is beautiful and she can fly in through space at infinite speeds. She could have any man she wants. Wildfire is an asshole who isn't even a human. He's a blob of energy in a containment suit. And for some reason, they're in love with each other. But in this scene, she shows up to help find what the hell is his name? Wildstar? Wildfire. Dawnstar shows up. She's willing to help find Wildfire's kidnapped parents. And this dude's like, took you long enough. Where were you?
Dude's bipolar. Something. I think they're both sort of outsiders, though, because she's some kind of future equivalent of a Native American, a non-white character who comes from a very different culture from the rest. She's very quiet and withdrawn, seemingly. Like the other characters, at least early on, thought she was kind of cold and aloof. She isn't just like...
That's what they're trying to set up in that earlier page when she rescues those people. And they're like, she's so frigid or whatever the hell.
Right.
So I guess in that way they're a match, but I don't know. Is that what attracts them, is like they're both outsiders? Wildfire is not a nice guy. He's a dick.
No. And he's also like electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
So she maybe she has some sort of pain fetish or something. I don't know.
Maybe her father was never around. And so now she wants a guy who isn't really there.
Oh, right.
Her father farted a lot, and so she wants to date a fart.
Didn't Giffen and Levitz have some awkward business going on where they're like attempting to have sex or something and she has burns?
Yeah, that was during the Giffen's return to the Baxter Papers series. But see, at that point, Wildfire had learned from fellow energy being Quizlet how to manipulate his energy into a solid form, so he had a body. Right. He wasn't using the containment suit. He was just hot as hell, I guess.
Right. Kind of forgot about that for some reason a little later.
Yeah, it didn't really last.
They never really explained why he went back, but I know.
Maybe Quizlet was helping him somehow.
Right.
And then Quizlet had to leave the universe. Right. And then he couldn't do it anymore.
Or maybe he was kind of doing it for him the whole time.
Could be doing it for him.
Holding him together.
Maybe he should have been dating Quizlet this whole time. Like they're both kind of the same species.
Right. There was like a whole like wasted issue, like where they went together to Quizlet's universe, I think, in their energy forms together. It was a great idea, but they totally squandered it. I don't remember how exactly, but it was very underwhelming.
If it was a Baxter issue, definitely it was underwhelming. No doubt about it.
Right.
But yeah, I was about to say that I think that Wildfire really needs to come to grips with the fact that he's not a human anymore and just move on from trying to be a human. Don't have a fucking human-shaped suit on. Just be a blob of energy. Just go on. Don't try to date a girl.
Maybe you should have a more form-fitting containment suit, complete with genitalia. Just like a whole body condom.
Oh, like he just looks like a nude man, but like perfectly smooth, like Silver Surfer with a pee-pee wee-wee.
Right. That might go better than burning your girlfriend up.
You could do both.
Yeah.
The word that Tyrock uses to do his teleportation is spelled E-Y and then a bunch of U's. EU.
It is here. They're kind of inconsistent about what it is. Like
I've never seen him do the teleportation before.
Well, he's only had a couple chances. He's only allowed to talk like 4 times ever.
Am I right that somebody made a little glossary of the words that Tyrock uses to do different feats of sonic superheroics?
I believe that happened, but I've never seen it, and I doubt any of the writers referred to it.
Yeah, I bet Paul Levitz, if he'd had that, he would have referred to it. He's like,
right,
like Karen, hold on, there's a better word for this.
Right.
But basically, yeah, this is kind of dumb too. Light Lass and Tyrek come back, and they tell the Legionnaires what we already know is that one of these fucking disgruntled employees at the shuttered brand military
Weapons
contracting,
factory.
that one of those people is Dagon the Avenger.
Right.
But before they can really explain it, Tyrock's like, I'm out of here.
He's tired of waiting for his chance to speak, to do anything. He sees the writing on the wall. He knows he's going to be like the first guy killed by the monster. It's like, I'm getting out of here before.
Yeah, I know what they do to black people in comics like this.
Right.
And Wildfire's pissed again. He's like, you filthy. I don't know what he's going to call him, but
the traitors.
He attacks Tyrock as he's kind of evaporating into another dimension or back to his planet or his island.
This is kind of a go-to move with Wildfire. I think at one point or another he has gone off on every member of the team, suspecting they're a traitor or they're a deserter or a coward or.
Yeah.
It should be a compilation of that.
He's going to see Tyrock finished as a Legionnaire. He wants his job.
Right. I think if anyone's going to human resources, it's Wildfire.
Well, human resources will be speaking to Wildfire, right? Because of all the complaints against him from Dawnstar.
Except he's not human, I guess. That's a great ad there. I wish I had access to that.
Oh, yeah, it is nice.
Who drew it?
I don't recognize the artist whatsoever.
It's not in the collection.
No, it's an ad. They would never put an ad for an old comic in the collections. But like the face on him on the Colossal Boy kind of looks like Ernie Colon. The inks almost looks like Filipino Invasion kind of inker, like it's Jerry Taliok or Alex Nino or somebody like that or something, you know, like the Starfield costume kind of gives it away or puts that in my mind. But like some of the anatomy's a little weird, like the foreshortening on Ultra Boy's neck here. Looks a little funky. The arm on Colossal Boy looks a little funky. But it's also an ad, so somebody might have drawn this in a half hour sometime or something.
Yeah.
But it still looks good, and I would be happy if the comic was drawn like this instead of by Jimmy James. I'm with you. But yeah, I'm not sure who this is. It's a lost piece of Legion of Superheroes artwork.
There's another nice Light Lass face on the top middle.
Yeah, cute.
Because of Dave Hunt. Did we see Jimmy James ripping off Jim Sherman here?
What? Ripping off Jim Sherman?
That's like almost completely traced from that classic opening page.
Oh, it is. You're right.
You know, from Earth War, I think.
You're right.
It's almost exactly this.
I think if you were on the team with Wildfire, like every meeting, he's like, slam, I'm crushing the conference room table.
That's another table. That's coming out of your paycheck. Whenever he starts talking, everyone gets their drink off the table real quick.
Right.
They know he's going to.
Don't spill my Starbucks.
Right. Always losing it.
But so, Light Lass reveals these three ID card photos of the people who are, I guess, certainly one of these three people is Dagon the Avenger. A spectral form of Dagon shows up and tells
floating
them
head villain.
Yeah. He's a little late. It's kind of dumb. He's like, I bet you guys discovered by now that I've kidnapped your parents and I've sabotaged your headquarters. And I know about all your secrets and all your weapons. And they're like, yeah, we know that. We spent the whole last 10 pages telling about that. Yeah. But he says, I want 1 billion solar credits in 24 hours or your parents will die. Day of Judgment, Part 1.
I don't know. Is there any jeopardy to that, though? It's not like they're saying, well, wait a minute, we can't come up with that money. Which I guess they can't because RJ just lost his fortune. But that's not...
Yeah, I didn't remember this detail. But yeah, RJ Brand, the richest man in the universe, has lost his fortune. And I mean, that's a natural plot development when you have a really rich guy, like it happens to Daddy Warbucks and it happens to whoever, the fucking Blake Carrington probably, and people like that. And it's just what you do if you got a lot of money in a soap opera. You lose all of it and then get it back again. Did you ever read that Little Orphan Annie sequence where, Daddy Warbucks, he gets run over and he and Annie are separated Annie jumps on a train and rides the rails and goes and lives with some farm family. Meantime, Daddy Warbucks says, I think he loses his memory. He definitely loses his eyesight, and he has a mask around his eyes for a long time. And then I think he's maybe wandering the streets or something like that, and he falls in with some guy who, I don't know if he's like a bookie or something, who's like struggling. And Daddy Warbucks is like, hey, turn your business over to me. And within a couple of weeks, Daddy Warbucks takes the bookie's money, and by investing it in the stock market, he makes the bookie rich and regains his whole fortune. I guess I forgot to say that at the beginning of this, before he gets hit by a car, I think he's lost his fortune, or maybe because he got hit by a car, he lost his fortune. Whatever. He's reduced to no money, no eyesight, no friends.
So he like lays off half the employees, makes the other half work twice as hard, gets rid of their benefits, increases dividends to the shareholders, etc.
I guess so. Well, no, he's just investing. He's playing the investment game, the Wall Street. He gets a ticker tape and gets it installed in this bookie's office. And I guess somebody has to read it to him because he's still blind.
Right.
And he's doing buy and sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, 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 buy low, sell high. He's doing that for like day after day in this comic strip. And everybody's like, whoa, this bookie who's been struggling to just pay back the debt he owes is like, you made me a rich man.
Wow.
It really is an American success story, really.
Right. He pulls himself up by his bootstraps. What made him rich the first time made him rich again.
Yeah, he doesn't have bootstraps. He has spats. He already had them, and he pulls himself up by his slightly dusty spats. Part 2 of Day of Judgment is called the Brigadoon Syndrome.
It's probably worth noting, I don't know about now or later, but the cover of the next issue doesn't happen in that issue. It happens in this on page 16.
I'm looking at it. Not exactly, because on this cover they're fighting Dagon, and they don't ever fight him in this issue.
Right, but he's already gone, right, by the next issue?
He leaves and
comes
back, or they go track him down or something, I think is how it happens. So I don't think it exactly happens this way, but look at this spot-built shoe ad with O.J. Simpson's autograph on it.
Whoa.
He says, show them your heels.
But not the gloves.
If the spot-builts fit, you must acquit.
You must acquit.
It should have been something like, I had this worked out earlier, and I forgot what it was. It would say, I did it, in big letters like this. Yeah. I switched from New Balance to Spot Built, something like that.
Right.
That would have been funny.
Right. It'll always be Nordberg to me. I remember the third movie was in theaters right as he got in trouble.
No shit?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if I even saw the third one.
It's as good as the other two. They're kind of interchangeable.
I gotta watch it. But let's talk about this. This is Legion Superheroes 264 now. The shocking conclusion of Day of Judgment.
Can you imagine being 10, 12 years old, reading this comic in 1980, the end of issue 263, and having to wait 30 days to find...
what would I be waiting to find out? Oh, if they're going to kill the parents.
Pay the money.
They pay the money. Well, riveting. Like how much money would you pay to stop someone from killing your parents?
Right.
None. Not much.
Right.
Kill them.
I assume they just go to the government or something, right? And they put up the money, or
who? The Legionnaires, or like in real life when your parents get kidnapped for ransom?
Right. If you don't have the money, does the FBI just shrug, or do they get some money?
I think the FBI is never going to give them the money anyway, and they'll advise you not to give somebody money. That's how it happens in the movies, anyway.
Oh, you don't negotiate with it.
Yeah, like because they get the money and kill the person anyway.
Right.
And then you just be out money. Like you don't want to lose money. It's a loser's deal.
This, what is the money? Solar credits. Do you think is that a form of cryptocurrency?
Probably.
The whole government, all money is cryptocurrency by then, right?
Yeah, everything's on the blockchain.
That's the future. That's the future of money. Mm-hmm. The new gold standard.
No regulations. No banks.
That's right.
Dagon's Cavern of Doom. Wait, I thought this was fucking Brigadoon something. That's an issue after this is called that, isn't it?
It must be Dagon, right? Because they're kind of Dagon's Cavern kind of rhymes.
I guess. I don't know.
Sounds like a ride. Ride at Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, Dagon's Cavern. And now what about this roll call? Dawnstar, Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, Shadowlass, Tyrock, Wildfire. This one is accurate.
That's right. 2979 AD.
Yeah, see, this one's only 999 years in the future because this comic was published in June 1980. The Legionnaires are, with Dawnstar's help, they're tracking down Dagon's lair.
Right.
And they're in such a rush that they cut off this space car in traffic. And the guy driving
is that what's
pissed.
going on? I was trying to figure out why he's saying look out, but they're behind him.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of not. This is only the second comic book Jimmy James has ever drawn. He's in the big leagues.
He's learning.
But this dude is pissed. He's more pissed than Wildfire is at this traffic problem. Typical middle-aged shithead. He thinks everybody should be driving on the right side of the road and using their turn signals.
Raytag.
Yeah, his name's Raytag.
Yeah, this kind of degenerates into, what do you call it, like pantomime, goofy slapstick.
Yeah, it gets kind of goofy.
He's shaking his fist and he doesn't realize he's about to crash into a building.
The building part's kind of weird too. Light Lass saves his bacon by lifting up the building. Wouldn't it be easier to move the car somehow than to lift up a building?
Where are all the bolts? And
yeah, like she would have had to destroy this building.
They still haven't installed plumbing in the DC universe.
Yeah.
That was a common criticism of older DC comics. Superman would be lifting houses and there'd be nothing connecting it to the ground.
And they still haven't corrected that problem 1,000 years or 999 years into the future.
Or maybe in the future we won't have all that bullshit and just it's all self-sufficient and self-contained.
Our bodies?
Or our buildings. They won't have plumbing and stuff going into the ground.
What happens to the mess in the toilet?
It's recycled through the synthesizer, whatever.
It's turned into food.
It's turned into food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they don't tell you on Star Trek. All that food is their shit.
Yeah.
That machine that makes everything. It's hooked up to the toilets.
You might be eating Mr. Spock's shit.
Right.
Light Lass tells Wildfire that he's being a dick on this page. And he's not paying attention. He's shirking his duties, and he's almost getting into traffic collisions. And there's a wordless panel of Wildfire, I guess, shooting daggers at Light Lass.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was an accident or on purpose. I mean, it works out. It's funny that way.
Well, the next panel, they say Wildfire's silence is reply enough.
Right.
But yeah, that could have been added later, too. I don't know.
See, this is, again, why I think it's Dave Hunt doing these faces, because when he inks faces, it looks like Dan Clowes to me.
These don't look like Dan Clowes faces.
The girl, sometimes, not every time. The Light Lass on the right side, middle panel, middle tier to the left. You don't see it.
I don't see it.
Well, you're blind. You need to work on get new glasses.
I think these girls are prettier than Dan Clowes women typically, but
maybe you're right. Looks David Boring-ish to me.
Yeah.
So we get a montage of what we just covered.
Oh yeah, boring.
Cross-eyed Shadowlass again, seeing all the parents fully dressed this time on the monitor.
I kind of like this pose. I assume it was in the last issue where Shadowlass is kind of craning her neck way forward, and it's partly so she can see whatever this is, but also partly because there needs to be more clearance around this caption box, I guess.
And we can show up for butt.
I know. Mm-hmm.
We don't have the cape in the way. Problem with that cape. That's why they keep forgetting to draw it on the cover.
Yeah, you don't want to cover up anything. Dawnstar tracks them down to an energy power plant. Is this the one that's also owned by a brand?
I believe so. It's a tidal energy plant. So,
water power.
Right.
But she can't go in. Something's blocking her powers, or I don't know, something. She feels sick, and then the power plant starts shooting the Legionnaires. I don't know. He's not in there. Oh, this is cool. They get attacked by bats.
Yeah.
A mutant bat swarm. It's tearing Lightning Lad to ribbons.
Right, and they pop like bubbles.
Yeah, what are these guys? Where'd they come from? How does Dagon generate hologram or bubble fake?
I think they're unstable energy or something.
They don't explain this at all.
Just make for a few good panels. Yeah, they pop like freaky soap bubbles.
It's ambiguous whether they pop on their own or Wildfire kills them all.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Wildfire probably wouldn't care if he kills them.
No. Actually, this is kind of well written for
really?
this comic anyway.
No.
Because then he says in really small lettering, like he's a little unsure, like at least I don't think I did it. He shows a little bit of possible remorse, like, did I accidentally kill those creatures?
Right. But I mean, for us, we still don't know.
Oh, right.
We don't know what they are, and we don't know why they popped, and we don't know who did it.
I'm just saying, for a brief moment, he sort of breaks out of his two-dimensional personality. We see a little humanity.
A lot of humanity for a person who is not human.
What do you got there? Is that a Hostess?
Yep. It's a Hostess Cupcakes ad with the Catman.
The Catman.
I see Vince Coletta. It's Vince Coletta and Kurt Swan, I think, drew this.
It's a rarity to see a Kurt Swan Batman.
Yeah.
I guess the World's Finest he did.
Right, the covers. I don't know if he did the insides. But there's that typically great Kurt Swan anatomy ruined by...
Vince Coletta's shortcuts.
They find that Dagon's not in this place. It makes Wildfire so mad. Right. He starts blowing up everything.
Yeah, he's losing it.
Dagon is back in... have they described it as the first place you should have looked? I can't remember yet.
Right. They're underneath the headquarters, right?
Yeah, evidently they began in like an emergency bunker under headquarters, but decided not to complete it. But since Dagon is a brand employee, he knew it was there.
So he just took them downstairs.
Yeah, they've been there the whole time.
Looks pretty cool there with the pink eyes.
Yeah,
he looks menacing.
There's a panel in the other comic where you can kind of see the eyes through the helmet, and they look like they have like thick black eyeliner, and it almost looks like it could have been a lady, I guess, maybe.
Oh,
I don't know if that's what they're going for. Like maybe in the black and white artwork, it looked more like a lady. Once you put this magenta lenses in there, you just looked dark. I don't know.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool. I think like the mechanical surroundings look pretty good.
Yeah, it does look pretty good, like this kind of stuff back here.
Yeah.
He says, I want them, the Legion of Superheroes, I want them to understand the agony of financial ruination, the knowledge of complete helplessness. I want to be avenged by destroying their hearts and souls, which that's what financial ruination does. It destroys your heart and soul.
Right. But I don't think there's even one moment where they're like, we need to get some money. What are we going to do? Like, I can take out a loan. Maybe we can chip in. Maybe the president will loan us some money. They never even once think about paying the ransom, right?
No. Well, that's because they think they can take him. They haven't gotten to the point. Like, if he could have somehow taken away their powers, and so that the only thing they could do is pay the money, then they would have been really bummed. Right. And also, yeah, Dagon ought to know that, like, oh, this group of superheroes, like, or what do you think the first thing they will do when you say, pay me my money or I'll kill your parents? Like, they're going to pay you the money? No, they're superheroes. They're going to come after you, stupid.
It really is a dumb plan, especially since he, of all people, knows that R.J. Brand is footing the bill and he doesn't have any money anymore. I guess maybe they could go rob banks or something.
I mean, maybe he thinks that the Legion of Superheroes are kind of already hurting. Like maybe he thinks that they're strapped somehow, and that if they give him the $1 billion that he asked for, they'll be totally bankrupted.
Or maybe he thinks that the whole bankruptcy thing was a bullshit excuse, and they have all the money. Like Brand is still.
Oh, that is what they said earlier, isn't it? Or that nerd guy said that, right?
Right.
He implied that the Legionnaires got it. And Tyrock tries to correct him, but I don't think he believes it. But the Legion isn't doing anything different than they always have. It's not like they're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches instead of their filet mignons like they always want.
Right.
They're just business as usual. And here's looks like Wildfire screaming at Dawnstar again for not being good enough.
Yeah. No one seems to really react to him being an asshole. They just he's bipolar or something. He always goes off. Everyone, it doesn't affect anyone. They just blow off.
How can you be bipolar if you don't have poles?
I don't know. How can you think if you don't have a brain?
Oh, no. What the fuck is what's Wildfire? This is just some business. They're trying to figure out where Dagon is.
Right. What's that noise down under us?
Wait a minute, but look at this ad. This is drawing a Len Wein
Yeah.
introducing this advertisement. That's really weird.
Oh, is that Adventure? That's the Steve Ditko Starman.
Yep. I don't know who might have drawn the Len Wein. It doesn't look like Ditko or Staten, so they got a third person to do that. Dick Giordano or somebody.
God damn it. Who was drawing? Maybe it was Ramona.
Oh, yeah. Freyden. She did some Plastic Man.
Right, like in the 60s after Gil Kane. Gil Kane did a few issues.
Right, yeah.
No Jack Cole, but still pretty good.
I don't know if any of those. I mean, I never read the Kyle Baker Plastic Man. That may be the next best after like a Jack Cole comic. I don't know if I even love the Jack Cole Plastic Mans. I don't know.
What?
I've never seen a little bit of it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Kyle Baker stuff, I don't know. By that point, his stuff looks so much like, it looks too polished to me.
Yeah.
Looks like animation cells. I feel like it kind of lost a little bit. It started feeling like feels like a studio, like maybe as a studio people working for him.
He might. No, I don't think he did. I think he does that all himself because there wouldn't be any money in it otherwise. I guess they decided they need to go get help from Tyrock, so they're going to go to his island that he comes from.
Right. And this is mainly just setting up future, like the next issue.
Yeah, the next issue.
Which is when they write Tyrock out entirely.
Yeah, it's kind of incorporated somewhat well and making this like almost a 3-part issue, you know? Like there's no earthly reason that these should like lead right into one right into the next, but they're doing it.
Well, like Levitz did that shit all the time.
Yeah.
So we got the BD brand building.
Yeah, who the hell is BD brand?
That's RJ's brother. Remember, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, I can never think of his name though. Chet Brand or something like that. This is a Brand Enterprises factory in the Pacific Northwest, I assume, of the planet Earth, United States.
Yeah.
But they're still like trying to figure out who of these 3. I guess now they whittled it down to 2 former disgruntled Brand Industries weapons designers.
Could it be the one with the crazed, angry expression in his on his ID?
I don't know. I mean, there's a beautiful woman, and then there's a guy who looks like he's insane, like the Unabomber. Which one is it? Maybe Jerry Conway will throw us a curveball, and it will be the person we don't expect it to be. But no, they figure it out.
Did they say they're disgruntled? Or are they just narrowed down because of their security access?
They've all been laid off because RJ Brand lost all his money.
Okay, they've been laid off. Yeah. So maybe it's the one that looks really pissed off in the picture.
I guess, but they take the picture for your ID badge on your first day of work.
Right.
They have to break into some kind of fucking thing, and Wildfire gets exploded, and he says, "Oh, darn it all anyway."
Such a firebrand, such a temper.
He says this is the second containment suit I've gone through in a month or something like that.
Goes through like one an issue, right?
Oh, this is where he can talk to him in this.
We can?
Lightning Lad says, "Just be glad you've learned to vibrate the air so we can talk to you in the energy form." And even Lightning Lad says, "Come on." Even as he says that, it doesn't make any sense. He's like, "Come on, Jerry. Did you really have me say that?" But now it's time for the showdown with Dagon.
Lightning Lad has figured it out that he's right under their noses. So they got to head back to headquarters.
And Dagon's going to, he's got to make a hasty retreat. He's just going to kill the parents, not collect the money. But he takes his sweet fucking time to kill the parents. He doesn't manage to kill any of them.
And luckily, he has on him a special wildfire net.
Yeah, he knows all their weaknesses because he had access, I guess, to that information by being a RJ Brand employee.
They probably have versions of this net all over headquarters because Wildfire is such a basket case. He's such a nut. They just know it's inevitable they're going to have to subdue this guy before he breaks another table.
Or maybe this guy invented it, but he got laid off before he could turn it over. Right. He should sell this to the underworld. It's it's a net made of negative ions, and Wildfire is made out of positive energy. But I don't ever get very much positive energy from Wildfire. It all seems pretty negative too. But he might dispatch Wildfire, but Lightning Lad shows up real fast too and blasts Dagon, frees the parents.
We've got some good-looking caves there at the bottom.
Yeah, this is the.
Do you think that's Jimmy Jane's?
I would say that's your Dave Hunt saving the day.
Yeah.
With those caves, that cave texture.
Mm-hmm.
But the figures of people walking out of the cave,
Mm-hmm.
that's Jimmy Jane's handiwork. This is where they explain that there's an unfinished safe room, security bunker beneath Legion headquarters.
So is this beneath the level? Okay, this is a different building altogether. But because then they used to keep Mordrew in the basement, and like the Miracle Machine, and they had.
Oh yeah. All that stuff was in the basement. But Omega or Omega destroyed.
Omega.
Well,
that's how they say it in English.
I thought it was. I looked this up because I'd never heard it before. I thought it was Omega, but I could be remembering it wrong. Omega? Maybe it's Omega.
Well, I guess I don't know. I just know Doctor Who. I grew up watching the old Doctor Who show, and one of his enemies is named Omega.
Right. Yeah, that's what you told me, and I was like, well, that's not right. I said it as somebody. I admit now that they do say it wrong over there.
Right.
I just never heard it before.
They don't say anything right. Like Z instead of Z.
Yeah, what the hell?
What's up with that? Is that Garcia Lopez Wonder Woman or so tiny?
Yeah, I can't see it either.
Perez?
I think it's
Don Heck?
I think it might be something like Don Heck and Dick Giordano or something, but
okay.
Something about the legs looks like Coletta, but the face looks like Giordano. Okay. Like if you compare like that Giordano face to this one.
Didn't he draw a few issues of comics, Giordano?
Giordano drew a ton of comics.
What did he draw? I think of him as an inker.
Oh, well, I think he drew a lot of Charlton, like romance stuff, maybe.
Okay.
But he was a penciler, too, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he has kind of an overwhelming style. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff where it's drawn by pencil by one guy and inked by Giordano, and it all looks like Giordano to me.
Right. I mean,
so maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I'm sure there's not a professional inker alive who can't competently draw. There's just some that prefer. I know some of them just don't like. They like the process of inking. They don't want to go through the bullshit of breaking the pages down.
Yeah, that's what I mean about. It's like how there's Kevin Nolan artwork, and he can ink Dan Jurgens, but like you almost wouldn't know that it was penciled by Dan Jurgens because it looks so much like Kevin Nolan. I think Dick Giordano was sort of in the same class, right? But yeah, like he's the sole creator on this cover, right? But yeah, he must have done comics, but I can't think of any.
There's not too much more to say, really. They whip his ass and free their parents, and we're off to the next adventure with Tyrock.
Cliffhanger.
Strangely underwhelming that they didn't. Isn't it weird that they didn't unmask him?
Yeah,
like you thought there'd be the big scene, and I would have gotten away with it too if not for you kids.
Yeah, I guess it's because all the way through they have already explained to us who this is going to be. It's one of 3 laid off former employees who's mad, right? And they're all nobodies we don't know anyway.
Right, so but it's so telegraphed. Like, you think, I don't know, I guess I kind of expected a fake out.
Yeah, there was never going to be a twist or a fake out.
Like they take it off and it's, what? The one person that was helping us earlier.
Right, it should have been like... another Legion parent should have been Dagon.
Oh yeah,
that's how it would have. The good twist should have been, but it was just this one really angry looking dude, right?
Right.
Even though they don't ever, it's not that explicit. I lost I was going to show the guy.
I mean, it's explicit enough that they know him. I think they're calling him by his name towards the end, maybe.
Oh yeah, they call him. He's Tech Master Weasel Yondor.
Weasel.
Wezil. Not like the rodent on Earth. It's Weasel that all people from Earth are named.
Right.
I just can't get over how youthful and sexy all these Legion parents are. They're in such good shape.
Well, right.
It's like they should be Legionnaires themselves. With a little bit of training, they could replace their own children on the team.
Well, like Levitz tried to explain, like everyone's still like boys and kids and lads well into their, 30s because no one gets old.
Well, so do you think that the parents, like these 3 women here, are they 80 years old? 80
Possibly.
Sola years?
Maybe. I mean, I guess Chameleon Boy's mother could just be making herself look good.
Oh,
powers.
That's true.
I mean, it's all kind of weird. Like, Jonah doesn't seem like seems like his mom should be dead and his dad's like a deadbeat dad or something. It doesn't seem like he'd have these well-adjusted parents. Maybe he's just a fake, I guess. Tries to act like a tough guy, but grew up in suburbia. The dad has shown up before, I think, and he was older before, so maybe he had a procedure.
Jonah's dad?
I think his dad
father?
has shown up and he was a lot older looking.
Mm.
But like none of this counts.
Yeah, this is the last time we ever see most of these parents.
Certainly the way they are now.
In fact, they didn't even bother to show the other parents. Like there's the 5 parents were introduced to on the very first page of the last issue.
Mm-hmm.
Those 5 are kidnapped by Dagon, but then also Colossal Boy's parents,
Sunboy's,
Wildfire's parents, and Sunboy's father have been kidnapped too. That's 10 people total, and they show them kind of once they've escaped, but they're in like a blocked-in color, and they never have any lines or anything. Nobody's happy that they got rescued, really. Like Wildfire doesn't show up, and he's like, "Glad you're back, Mom," and gives her a hug or anything like that. Like he's still pissed.
He tries to hug him, but he keeps electrocuting him because he doesn't have the suit on.
So that's kind of dumb. Like I don't know, just draw 5 more hot adults. And you got it. And in fact, Sunboy doesn't even show up. I mean, I guess Sunboy probably hates his father. We learn that later.
I think he's in space.
Oh,
Wasn't he part of that last roll call, or was... double check. Yeah,
they mention it in the letters page or somewhere that there's a bunch of Legionnaires out fighting the space circus or something like that.
It really isn't until Levitz comes back that he has sort of perfected the formula that allows him to juggle all these characters at once. So up until then, they were constantly breaking the team up into groups of 6 to 8, and they'd kind of rotate between the different groups, not within a single issue, but like a couple issues are the guys out in space, a couple issues are on Earth. It works in some ways. It makes it more manageable, and it also weakens the team, which is good. They're a quick read, though, right?
Pretty inconsequential comic books.
Yeah, the letter columns were more interesting than the comics, probably.
Probably so.
Oh, I guess you wouldn't know.
That was Legion of Superheroes number 263. 264 Day of Judgment, the 2-part epic written by Jerry Conway.
Grab it now before you get the Flight Ringer effect. The prices go up.
No, sell it now before the prices go down.
That's right.
I wonder if this will be funny at the end or interesting.